Ricard is in the name of Deputy Gary Gannon. Count Corley has given permission to Deputy Holly Cairns to move the question. Deputy Holly Cairns.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, the Town and Village Renewal Scheme with accelerated measures for COVID has been so welcome and a really successful programme. It supported 106 towns and villages in every county to adapt to living with COVID. For example, the purchase of stage and amplification equipment for community events and concerts in West Cork, and the revamp of the Macroom Town Centre. But Minister, given the success of the scheme, will you please extend it to enable more communities to avail of this funding?
Thank you, Deputy, for raising this issue. This year's Town and Village Renewal Scheme has been tailored to assist our rural towns and villages to respond to the challenges presented by COVID-19. The scheme includes, as you mentioned, an accelerated measure which enables towns and villages to introduce initiatives immediately to support increased footfall and enable people to shop and socialise safely in accordance with public health guidelines. The scheme also includes a standard measure which places a focus this year on the recovery of towns and villages from the impact of COVID in the medium term. When the 2020 Town and Village Renewal Scheme was launched in May, it had a budget of 15 million, including an indicative allocation of 5 million for the accelerated measure. The Government's July stimulus package provided an additional 10 million in funding to the Town and Village Renewal Scheme, allowing the allocation for the accelerated measure to be doubled. This extra funding for the measure has allowed my department to increase the number of funding rounds from 2 to 3, increase the number of applications that can be submitted by the local authorities, and as an exceptional measure, provide funding under the accelerated measure for larger towns with a population above 10,000 people. This is in recognition of the importance of larger towns in supporting the economic and social fabric of surrounding rural communities. Successful projects under Round 1 and Round 2 of the accelerated measure have recently been announced, with a total of 6.1 million being approved for 226 projects, and the ones you mentioned were included in that. Applications under Round 3 for the large towns are currently being assessed by my officials, and further announcements will be made when the process is complete. Applications under the standard measure for Town and Village will place a focus on the next stage of recovery, and that will be announced at a later stage.
Thank you. I suppose the Town and Village Renewal Scheme is the type of practical and tangible support that communities need to avail of that funding. At a time when rural areas have been significantly impacted by the pandemic, the scheme isn't only helping us adjust, but it's offering a lifeline for Main Street shops and other family businesses. The two schemes so far this year, like you said, cost just over 6.1 million, which is an investment that will pay back multifold for the communities concerned. However, the scheme required communities to almost compete against each other due to the limited funding available to each local authority. Many areas which put together excellent proposals didn't get funding, which is really disheartening, and especially this year. To help boost towns and villages, can you not provide additional funding to each local authority to invest in communities who have already applied but weren't successful in those rounds?
Thank you. Well, actually, Deputy, the Town and Village scheme is very close to my own heart, because I actually was the Minister who first established the scheme when I was previously had responsibility for the Rural Development Brief in 2016. And I'm glad to say that it has gone from strength to strength, and it has seen millions invested in rural towns and villages right across the country. And it has a bottom-up approach where communities were able to engage with each other, identify what they wanted to do in their town, and then put the applications in for funding. So, as I said, we originally had a budget of 15 million for the Town and Village, so I've got the extra 10 million, and that brings the total package up to 25 million this year. And the 10 million has been allocated for the accelerated measures, and there's some really good stuff coming out there. There's outdoor seating, there's community centres to enhancing them to allow remote working, there's adapting community spaces. As you said, outdoor cinemas is becoming very popular, and in some towns they're doing that. They're widening the footpaths to make it more safe for social distancing. So again, there are 226 projects, 6 million spent. There's still another 4 million there in the budget.
Thank you, Minister.
Yeah, like I said, it's so welcome and it has really helped, and I really appreciate that. I suppose in particular villages tend to have lost out, and these communities who often live in the kind of shadow of regional towns could do with a crucial boost this year. Ballydehob, for example, in West Cork put together a fantastic application reimagining the whole village, a bit like you just spoke about there, as an inclusive social space where locals and visitors can avail of refreshed spaces, outdoor seating and new facilities for community events. This is just one example. Other villages such as Irees, Drimoleague, Belgooly would all benefit immeasurably from this type of targeted intervention. Minister, you had an additional scheme in August for towns with populations over 10,000, which you mentioned. Can I ask for a similar scheme at the other end of the scale, like you say, from the bottom up, from small? Targeted investment for villages with population of under 1,000. Places in my own constituency like Scull, Drina, Inishannon, they could apply and they desperately need it at the moment. I know as a fellow rural TD, you fully understand the difference that this would make to communities.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you. Well, as I said, Deputy, we did increase it, and there's still some money left in the pot. It's targeted at the larger towns, but there's nothing to stop the villages from applying under the standard town and village scheme, because it's still open for applications up until the 30th of September. So I leave it with them for those that haven't been successful to continue to engage with the department and put in maybe amended or adjusted applications that may qualify for funding.
Thank you, Minister.